Yeah. Unravel the gavel, it's a consistent battle. You can fathom the fancy features you speak of, you can have them. They wanna trace my steps just to see what's left. But I move like disco, can't dub my steps. Been a lot of imposters, getting none respect. Too many gimmicks with the lyrics, only one ill lit. Drilling the thought in your brain, feeling invincible. Class out of session, kid ain't got no principles. Rather steamroll you, leave you buried in my path. Hoping book on life ain't shit buried in my past. Drop the mask in the act. Hard to trust the face when it's just molded and wax. Figures, bro, what they doing figures, bro. Sell your soul and take what's in the envelope. But I'ma chill like we Timberlow. You only stronger than your weakest link. So I chain my words together, made the realness dip to eat. What you think? So real.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the song. It's called Classics by Kimbro, and you can follow the producer on Twitter at Chris, Prythm. So again, follow him, check out all their music, and we'll have a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back. Hey, this episode is sponsored by The Black Detour. The Black Detour is an independent media outlet that advocates for Black people to not only be empowered, but informed on issues of the Black community. They are part of the growing movement in America to empower Black people all across the United States. You can visit their website at theblackdetour.com, and you can also follow them on Twitter at theblackdetour.com. Thanks so much, and let's get started. What's up? It's episode 11. Wow. I know it's been forever since I recorded my last episode, and I just want to thank you all for sticking by me and tuning in again. And although this is going to be linked from SoundCloud, I hope you're also listening on the iTunes podcast app. And if you didn't know, it is now available on your iPhone. All you have to do is press the little, purple podcast button and search The Balanced Podcast. You'll see me. You should know my logo. If you don't, it's the header on my personal Twitter. And I have my podcast page on Twitter at _balance_pod. Header for that. You should know it. You'll see it. You can listen and you can also subscribe. And I will also ask that you be sure to tell your friends that the podcast is available on iTunes and Google Play. And just tell them how dope it is, because it is. Okay, cool. So this episode is going to be a little bit different, just because I just feel like I'm in a different space right now. As you've probably been seeing on my Twitter, I've been going through it, and so I just felt like for the episode title, I'm back, it really shouldn't. My life has been unstructured and it's been a whirlwind lately, so I'm not about to have the same structured thing, and it's also not about to delve into something so serious. Like, I'm not talking stats, I'm not going to talk anything like super heavy. Like, I just want to have like a real conversation, and that was the whole basis of my podcast. I wanted it to feel like a friendship, like just two people talking, having a chat. And chats don't always have structure. It doesn't always have a theme. Like, sometimes you're just talking, like, about whatever, and the most random of subjects can come up. And so I just kind of wanted this one to really feel like an organic conversation between two old friends who haven't spoken in a while, because we haven't. It's been, 2.5 weeks? So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. So the first thing, of course, I will talk about celeb news because, why not? So Monica and Brandy. So as I think everybody knows, Brandy has this weird obsession with Monica. And at this point, it extends beyond the whole Whitney Houston association, because, she spazzes out every time Monica remotely says anything about Whitney, because apparently Whitney can only be bonded for like eternity and after eternity to Brandy only. Like, she has a weird obsession with Whitney too, but I get it. Y'all did Cinderella together, which, by the way, that was the best Cinderella ever. I don't watch anything else. Like, that's all that matters. And I still have the VHS tape, like, throwback days, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so she has this weird obsession. And apparently, like, she was performing, I think, at Essence, and she made this whole dig at Monica while performing The Boy Is Mine, which is an amazing song, and that they did together, I'm sure everybody knows. And I don't get her obsession with Monica. Like, I know they had this whole fight and blow up and everything like that. And I know they got into this whole thing, backstage where they were, like, fighting right before they performed or after they performed. And it's been ongoing. But the thing is, I thought they squashed this whole beef. Like, because I know while Whitney was still alive, like, there was a whole time, like, I say maybe a year or so before she died, that they were cool and all hanging out together. So I'm just really, like, confused. And then, what year is it? 'Cause I'm Googling it right now as we speak. In 2012, Yeah, it was probably for this whole video. Monica and Brandy teamed up again to do a song called It All Belongs to Me. So I'm just so confused on why she's spazzing and carrying this grief. Like, y'all apparently made up enough to do a song, so I don't get it. Like, but Brandy's a weirdo. But, just talking about Monica and Brandy, I see there's a lot of discussion. And I would say, like, Brandy has some hits. Don't get me wrong. I can go on a whole Brandy Spotify thing. And if you don't think Brandy got hits, you slipping. She has the most amazing songs ever. She's allegedly called like the vocal Bible or something like that, and I don't get the association. And I literally, like, I'll be sitting down, like, I know I was at work one day and I was like, all right, you finna hear this vocal Bible. So I'm sitting here like my face in my hands and I'm like, listen, sis, like, where are they getting it from? Like, Brandy's voice is unique, and I'll give her that. And I won't slander her voice, it's unique. But I feel like it's disrespectful to the Bible to say, like, that she's the vocal Bible, because, like, her vocals aren't that. Like, if you want to compare Monica's, her vocals are better. Definitely. And Monica has a good discography too, but I would definitely give it to Brandy when it comes to that. But yeah, I just want Brady to get it together and be okay. Monica's over here handling it classy, so shout out to her because I feel like she really could run them hands and it'll be all over with. Um, but yeah, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was Sierra and Russell. They're so cute. And you should know I'm talking about Russell Wilson. They're so cute, and like people were saying, like you really see the joy in her eyes and her smile, and like from a virtual standpoint, Sierra just moves different. Like, she just seems like a different, transformed woman, like a woman of being, a woman who you like would aspire to be like. And again, we don't know dynamics and everything like that, but just from a virtual and observant standpoint, like she just moves different since she's been with Russell, and she looks genuinely happy. And I just feel like she's just elevated in ways that we don't know or can't understand, or some people do if they have like a really dope man or whatever, or just by themselves living a dope life. But anyway, like Sierra, she posted some pictures recently, and like, yes, like she is the baddest. And the thing about Sierra I always loved is that she doesn't have, like, in the black community, like, they praise thickness, thick thighs, fat asses, and like she's like, I guess what you would call maybe slim thick. I don't know, but she's like a slender type, but yet her thighs are just enough, her ass is just enough, and she has like the best body ever, muscles and all, like the best body. And so she was looking so good in those pictures, and then she also like I don't know, like it's just like she's looking even better like since she left Future. And then aside from that, like she did a whole that video everybody's doing to Drake's In My Feelings, Kiki do love me, bleh, whatever. So yeah, and she looked amazing and she killed it. And that's the thing about Sierra. I've always felt like she was a bomb ass dancer. And honestly, if Sierra had the right backing and the right people working on her music with her, she could be like a top hitter. Like she could be like on Rihanna's level. And some people will come at me for that, but I honestly believe it's true. She doesn't have the right people behind her music wise, because Sierra's sexy. Sierra can dance. And there's been comparisons between her and Janet I saw on Twitter. Like it was recent, like, is she like, this generation's Janet? And they both got the whole whisper singing thing going on, and they both have the dance aspect, but of course Janet's like legendary status in her discography, but on basic core competencies of what they do, they're the same. And so if you put Sierra, like, she has the look, she has the talent, like dance wise, and she has the whole singing thing, the whisper singing, but it's like a nice whisper sing, so like, she could do the whole thing. She just doesn't have the right people behind her. um and again, like, I feel like she could be at Rihanna's level and people can come fight me for it, but it's my opinion. I haven't, and I'm not entirely wrong. So, whatever. So Cardi and Offset, Cardi had her baby, Culture with a K, because she blood. Honestly, it's not that bad to me. I actually find it kind of cute. And I just find it so representative of blackness. I mean, culture, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like the name. And I mean, I actually like the K with it because I just feel like it'd be weird if she was Culture with the C. Like, I actually think it's okay. And I mean, you got people out here naming their baby True and Stormy and stuff like that. So in essence, like, Culture, like, it means a lot. Like, behind it, what it is, what it signifies, aside from it being the whole dad's album thing or whatever. But I like it and I think it's cute. So congrats to Cardi. Y'all know that I slick stand for her, but that's another thing I want to mention. Being a stand doesn't mean you can't point out somebody being problematic, okay? And Cardi's had her moments, but overall, like, I stand for her. I live. That's what's up. So like I guess yesterday, the day before that, Michelle Obama, Queen, Forever First Lady, Malia and Sasha were all at Beyonce's concert in Paris. You know, one of their favorite stops because, you know, like they said, my baby Blue was conceived here. They love having sex in Paris. Probably the twins was conceived there too, knowing them. But anyways, so yeah, they was at the concert and Michelle had her legs all out and she was just living. Like, I love it. I love seeing them being carefree, living their black ass lives, and just being happy and away from the stress and the bullshit that is this country. So, shout out to them for living their best life. And shout out to Malia for, you know, embracing a black moment in black people. Because, you know, like her team just always seems so white. So, you know, nothing wrong with having white friends, but girl, like, you know, it's nice seeing her immersed with her own and everything. And Mama Tina, like, I know she goes to, like, every Beyonce concert because when her corny joke time hits, she's like, hi, I'm in Paris and it's corny joke time. Or hi, I'm like, she always tells us where she is. Like, you peasants, you can't touch it, you can't be there. But yeah, and then if you follow her on Instagram like I do, which everybody should, like, she's always showing where she's at. And she's always at Beats concerts, so I get it. But like when she was with Michelle, like she started sitting down, and the funny part is she was sitting down during Jay's set. I don't know, just funny to me. She could have been shady, or she could just be like an oblivious woman. Like, you know, it is what it is. Also, Elton John and Bono, you know, like white people love them. They were also in attendance at Beyonce's concert that it might be wrapping up now because you know the time difference overseas. I think it's in Nice. And so like yeah, she was there. They were there at her performance. So yeah, thought it was cool because it's interesting. Like you know, a lot of white people hate Beyonce, and I feel like my new coworkers do, and I hate that. I'm scared to ask because I don't want it to ruin how I feel about them because it might. So yeah, like they have this thing against her because she's being outspoken about her blackness and what we go through, and they just hate to see a successful black woman winning at the same time. So it's just like two staples in their community, like are at her concert. So I just find it kind of cool. Um, but yeah, so like that's it for celeb news. That's all I got. But then I wanted to move into what I'm about to introduce called my random corner, and corner with a K. Um, and not just because of the whole Cardi culture thing, but also because my name like begins with a K. So I mean, thought it was cute. K, no, don't like it, whatever. So just some random thoughts I had in my mind was like on Twitter. I'm gonna pull up the tweet because I think it matters. Um, Someone was talking about how Trayvon Martin just kind of started a movement and an awakening. Yeah, they were like, I think Trayvon Martin's death was the start of a huge black awakening and black empowerment movement for our current generation. That was really the first real incidence of racial injustice for a lot of us, and I think it will go on to be a turning point in American history. And honestly, it's true. And I said it on Twitter. I don't know if y'all saw my tweets, but I'm just gonna repeat myself. Like, it was a turning point for me. Like pre Trayvon Martin, like I wasn't quote unquote woke. Like I just wasn't. Like, you know, before Trayvon Martin, I would say I was honestly ignorant to racial issues, even as a black person. Like, I knew racism existed, but in my mind, it was like a 10% thing, like so far and few in between, and just so far removed from me. And, you know, and I mean, honestly, I wasn't that aware of police brutality. And I mean, I knew about Rodney King and stuff like that, but I just didn't have that real knowledge. I didn't know how present it was. I didn't know how devastating it was for communities. And I was just not aware, I guess. And you know, like I was saying on Twitter, there was never that police brutality talk in my house. It was never sat down like this is how you interact with police. Like none of that. I never had I never was like pro police like some white people are. Like I was never like, oh, gung ho, you must respect them at all costs, whatever, whatever. Like I mean, I was just cool with them, like whatever. And then shit happened, and then like I started to realize, and I learned things, and I saw things, And I realized how prominent like police brutality is as an issue and what it does to our community, and not just our community, because I think we also need to talk about the rates like for Native Americans. Like I was doing a report, and the rates, I can't remember, I'll say for the year 2015, like per million it was like 6.64 black people per million, but for Native Americans it was like 10.1 or 10.41 per million. And I think a lot of times, Native American issues aren't given much coverage because they were decimated through genocide. And so not they don't have the highest population as they used to. Like I was also doing a report for my reflective essay, because y'all know I'm getting my master's halfway through. Shout out to me. And the genocide started way before um, Andrew Jackson and the Trail of Tears. Like they were decimating people, like 300 something at Wounded Knee, and there was this other massacre where they killed, gosh, I don't know if it was between 400 and 600 or something like that of a tribe. As they slept, they massacred the whole tribe, and then how they burned and tortured them for gold, even asking where it was, and even people didn't really know where it was, they still burned them. And then they because it was a documentary I was watching, I think it was called The Canary Effect, and they would get babies and rip them from their moms and bash their heads on rocks. So they did a lot of stuff. So the genocide and all that stuff started way before. Um, and I know like it was talking about Christopher Columbus. He didn't really land in India, and he also didn't land in the United States. He landed in the Caribbean island, and there was this guy there. I don't know, Bartholomew, some kind of weird name like that. And um, he was there, and by the like, gosh, I wish I could remember the number, but I would say 8 million Indians were there when he arrived. And then during the course of the time he was there, and Columbus was the governor, it got reduced to like 250 by like 15 something. And then, by the time he was left, it was all gone. Like there were no Indians left there. So again, like the genocide started way before Andrew Jackson came in. He's an asshole and he's a terrible human being. I hope he's right in hell and everything like that. But the genocide started way before that. So again, I just feel like their issues, going back to the topic, because I saw it diverged off. That's what happens sometimes. Like their issues get ignored, but they are just as much victims of police brutality, as we are, and definitely disproportionate to their population. So yeah, like again, going back to the tweet, I just went on all different divergent paths. But again, that's who I am, and I'm back. This is me. Um, so yeah, like I didn't know about the gravity and the reality of things, and there was never that twice as good thing talk in my house. Like, I mean, I just, I guess grew up shielded from it. Like it wasn't purposeful. It just wasn't something that was brought up, and it was because it wasn't really brought up um, when my mom grew up or when my dad grew up. And my mom, like her dad, my grandpa, like he went through a lot with white people. Like they pushed him in the road and spit on him and kicked him because like he's old, so he was there like Jim Crow, like all of that time. 'Cause he was born in early 1930s, so he's been through a lot. But we were still as a family, because they grew up in the country, and so like it was just far removed from police brutality, I guess, which I guess would say mostly happen in urban areas or like cities or whatever. I don't know, but they grew up in the country life, so they were removed from that. They were also removed from incarceration. So like people of course in the family went to jail and stuff like that, or prison. People that they knew in the community, but like the level of mass incarceration, that wasn't talked about. That wasn't like part of their daily dialogue. So in all of this, I say as to we need to educate people before being quick to slander them or cancel them or whatever or what have you. Like if somebody's being willfully ignorant, if they're not listening, then feel free to go off. But I feel like we need to understand people's experiences, where they come from, how they were raised, and then how the people before them who raised them, how they were raised. You just have to consider all these things, because not everybody's born woke. Nobody is born woke. You go through life, you go through experiences, you go through lessons, whether taught by experience or through your family. You don't just grow up woke. It happens. It's a process. So be patient with people. So that's one of the things that I felt was kind of important. Um, and then speaking of cancel culture, like, so this whole Iggy video, and let me say that bitch moved her ass, and I was like very impressed. Like, yes, yes, girl, yes. Um, And so, it caused this whole controversy. And because people were like, oh, like someone was saying like, oh, did she say the N word? Which actually did not happen. She never said the N word, but she did use that accent, trying to replicate what she thought sounded black. And she did call herself a runaway slave on the track. But I will say that she did apologize profusely, and even in her new record, I could hear that she toned down the accent. And again, I get other people's arguments that yeah, she was in the South a lot, and I know T.I. was working with her for a bit, and everybody knows that T.I. has the most Southern accent. Like, T.I. voice when you hear it. So, I mean, in terms of that, like, I get it. Um, Things like that, like, I understand. Um, and so I feel like I'm at peace with Iggy. I'm not about to be out here like, oh, I'm about to listen to her songs now because she can move her ass and all is forgiven. I mean, like, I'm cool with it. Like, she apologized profusely, and I can see in action, like, by her toning down, the um the accent that she's trying. And I don't think she's gonna call herself a runaway slave anymore in her music. And also at the same time, I think some like white people are ignorant because they don't have talks in their home. They don't know what's appropriate. And y'all all know when education is whitewashed and it shies away from things. So I think there are times where they're just really just ignorant and don't realize the problem of what they're saying. Um, and that's a mile marker for me because my brother would probably like be shocked that I'm even trying to have any sympathy, but it's real. And then like what I want to talk about is like cancel culture, like with Iggy and versus Chris Brown and Kanye. Y'all still standing for Chris Brown and Kanye, but y'all can't forgive her for little minuscule things that I believe that she's apologized for and is trying to remedy. Yeah, Kanye just, I don't know, last week he was defending his Trump comments and his pro Trump support again. So shut up. If you're going to stand for that man, like, first off, you're dumb if you're still standing for him and trying to defend him. Like, you're dumb. And I don't have, like, I'm just going to tell you you're dumb. Like, I'll tweet you, you're dumb. Like, I will call me on the phone, I'll tell you you're dumb. I will FaceTime you and tell you that you're dumb. Like, I'm not scared to tell you that you're dumb because you are. And I feel bad for you because you have no principles and no morals. And you don't really care about your people that much because the things that he was saying was dangerous. But not to get in a rant about Kanye, but still, like, that's happening. Chris Brown, like, it's a whole mess and always a mess. He was arrested for battery assault something the other day, and people try to always defend him and bring back the Rihanna thing, like, oh, Rihanna him back, whatever. I don't know how true that is. I didn't watch the documentary because I have principles and morals that Chris Brown did, and I don't know if I didn't watch an interview where Rihanna said that, and she might have. I'm not gonna say that she didn't. But that's not the point. The point is Chris Brown's been violent in other ways. He had like, I don't know if it's Good America performance, Good Morning America, but he had some kind of morning show performance and he had a meltdown and threw a chair out the window. He also had a meltdown and threw a brick through his own mother's windshield. He also punched Karuchi in the stomach and maybe pushed her down the stairs, what have you, and that's why she was granted a restraining order for like 5 years. He has a pattern of violent and abusive behavior, guys. So it's not just that one incident. So again, if you still support and listen to these people, then you should shut the hell up and have no opinion about Iggy. You can't be selective about who you cancel. If you're going to cancel, you need to stick by those principles and morals and apply it equally, no matter how much you love somebody. Okay? Quickly, I just want to say, like, there are some people that are slept on musically, since we're on the music tip. Avant, like, he has some huge ass songs, like My First Love, one of my favorites. And if you just go on Spotify and go to Avant, like, you'll see, like, he has some good hits. And then again, Kiki Wyatt, like, vocals on vocals on vocals. I love her. Like, not gonna lie, like, her vocals are better than Beyonce. Y'all know I'm the hugest Beyonce stan, but Kiki Wyatt's vocals, her range and her ability to what she could do with her vocal cords. And y'all pick at her for singing that same song all the time, but what she can do with that is amazing. And don't get me wrong, Beyonce is a very extremely talented vocalist, but I would put Kiki Wyatt above her, and if someone said it, I wouldn't fight them in an argument. And then Music Soul Child, like, he slept on. Like, he has so many great songs, and I just feel like he could be bigger than he is. And then there are a few more things that I wanted to mention. So like the retrograde, people will make fun of people who are spiritual and stuff like that, but I saw this on Twitter and I just wanted to point out because, like, the moon can control our tides in the ocean. And yeah, there are other factors at work, but we accredit the moon for that. And so if it can control something as vast that covers like 77% of our surface, you don't think that all of these things in this large ass universe with all their gravitational pull can affect us as humans? I mean, Jupiter helps the Earth and it's so far away. Like, I don't even know how many light years away. And I watch documentaries and stuff a lot because I'm, I guess, a nerd. And I was watching this documentary on the planets, and Jupiter and its gravitational pull, it helps keep so many asteroids away from hitting the Earth. So it's like all these years, like light years away, can affect the Earth. So y'all don't think like these planets and stuff can have an effect on us and our personality. Like, I really challenge you to think above your understanding or thought process now and think that maybe it could be possible. I'm not gonna be an expert or say it's for sure, but I think it's extremely possible, and I do feel changes in me, and I don't even know it's the retrograde until like I read about it or learn about it. But yeah, um, so I wanted to mention that. And then like all these stories about people calling like the police on black people, like when Columbine happened, like right after, and I mean right after, there were so many like incidents of people like threatening bombs or whatever. And then just in general, you have this idea of copycat killers. And they also have the idea that a lot of people who, commit atrocities that gain news and fame, that's what they wanted. They wanted that notoriety. And so I just kind of feel like the same thing applies. I mean, it's just like the Kardashians. You keep talking about them, they want that attention. And it's the same thing. These people know that if they call the cops, they're going to get attention. They're going to get the attention. Sorry, computer beeped. Um, they're going to get the attention from the public, whether it's social media or the news or what have you. And they're also going to get the crazies out there who somehow start GoFundMe for whatever reason, then they'll get cash. I mean, y'all giving attention to it at this point, the frequency at which it's happening, yes, the issue needs to be addressed, and it can point out something very valid, because when you call the police on black people, you're effectively risking their lives, and you know that. There's so much evidence, there's so much going on in the news that you know that. So, but also I feel like there's that copycat element. So yeah. And then one of my last random thoughts was like, white people understand age discrimination and how it's covert. Like, for example, like, there's laws against discriminating against people based on age. Like, you can't discriminate against people over like 40 or something like that. And, but they understand it's covert in the sense that they know that if they're 57 years old and they're applying for this job and interviewing for this job, and they're going against a 27-year-old candidate or a 26-year-old candidate, that they know that more than likely they're going to hire that 26 or 27-year-old candidate because they're youthful, young, and more vibrant and virile. And they're also not near retirement age, so they can get more usefulness because, in American society, we don't value the old and we deem them useless at a certain age. That's why we stress like youth and all these different products for your face or whatever. But coming back on topic, so they know who's gonna get it, like based upon that, and then you could pay them less and things like that. So they get that, and they get that that's still a problem, and it's a covert thing. So I understand they can't get racist, like racism is still happening, and how it happens on a covert and systematic scale. Because at the same time, like it's the same thing. There are laws against being like racist. Like you can't discriminate on the basis of race, but it still happens. So it's like they just need to create that tie-in. But or maybe, I mean, they know. Some people know, and they just choose to be willfully ignorant. But anyways, so that wraps up my random corner. And I just wanted to mention to you guys, I'm now writing blog posts, which will in part be more personal, but also just kind of more reflective of what I'm going through at that exact moment, with advice and just stuff like that. And I just wanted to talk about my last post. It was called Me Time Matters. And you can also check them out on two websites, tumblr.com/K Who Creates, and it's KAE Who Creates. So, tumblr.com/K Who Creates. And you can also check it out. And this is a bit of a longer and more confusing one, but I'll tweet the link on my pages. HTTPS, the colon, / the balance podcast 2.wix, WIX site, patreon.com/K Who Creates. And again, I'll just post that one because it's really long. But either way, I'll be posting both on there for viewing. And like I said, the last one is called Me Time Matters. And on that one, I just kind of discussed things like in the intro, it's like for those of us in our 20s, I feel as if we bought into the idea of sleeping when you're dead. Social media has us thinking we should spend every 24 grinding, trying to secure the bag and be plain old busy. This is perfectly fine if you are trying to see your ancestors sooner rather than later. However, for those of us who want to truly live our best life, this is an extremely unhealthy view. And so I kind of delve into that. And then I talk about self-care and I talk about self-love. And I talk about it in more than just bath bombs, music, and essential oils, which can all be good, but also self-care, like I said, necessitates self-reflection. Like, you know, we always talk about things being toxic, but have we stopped and thought about how we're toxic to someone else? Things like that is self-care, and you need to take that time for yourself, like, because it'll help you become a better person. And then self-care is also, like I said in my post, is also looking at those around you and asking yourself, do they fit into your life? You know, no matter how long you've been friends, dating, or even if they're family, if someone's no good for you and they're causing you recognizable harm, physically or mentally, they have to go. And even if they aren't causing you any harm, but they're keeping you stagnant and not moving with life as you are, it's okay to let them go. Again, you can love someone from afar. But anyway, those are just some things in the post, and you can check it out on both of those websites, and I'll tweet the links. But yeah. So yeah, we'll wrap that up and then we'll be back for the last portion of the show, which won't be that long. All right. Hey guys, welcome back. So this last piece is going to be really personal. And I don't want to offend anybody with what I'm saying or do say, but I'm going to speak for myself and my personal beliefs and my values. And yeah, so I was going back and I was thinking like, hey, what can I talk about in this episode? What do I not talk about? And I realized sex is one of those. And let me say, I'm going through a drought, guys, and I'm struggling. Like, you know those posts or those tweets where it's like, you know, day like 1,670 without sex. That's me. I haven't had sex since January 7th, 2016. And yeah, I remember the date. And that's because the person I last had sex with was trifling, and so I had to pull out the receipts. He was, you know, with somebody else behind my back, and I just had to pull out receipts on him. So that's why I know the date. It was bomb, but, you know, trifling niggas always have good dicks. So anyways, so I don't talk about sex much. And everybody knows, I'm going to say this. Everybody knows I'm pro-ho. I'm pro-live your life. Like, I don't have any ill will towards sex workers. I believe in getting your money how you get it. And that's them. Like, live your life. Like, they don't cause any harm. They're providing a service. And I mean, like, think about it. You can get paid for working your walls. Like, isn't that great? So, like, let them live their life. And just anybody who wants to have casual sex or do them, like, I'm cool with that. I'm down with that. But for me, like, I can't do that. And I have respect for those that do, but I just can't. And again, like, I haven't had sex for so long, like 2.5 years at this point or whatever. For me, I believe it's an exchange of like soulful energy. And I think that's why I'm having such a hard time getting rid of them, because we had tons and tons of sex. And I know for me, it was an exchange of soulful energy. And I feel like I took in his energy, especially the last time we did, because I was very passionate. And I believe like some of his energy and his spirit is in me, and I feel like that's why it's so hard for me to shake him. And I guess I can explain when people say they're digmatized. Like, is it really that the strokes are that good, or is it? I mean, now very well it could be that strokes are that good. That could be definitely a part of it, but also maybe it's an exchange of some energy. Like maybe something about him also aside from that is connecting. Like not just the strokes with your walls, but other things are connecting. You know, so I feel like that exchange can help you be digmatized. Keywords in this next sentence. I didn't have consensual sex until I was 20 years old. Because I had my assault before that, a couple of months before it. And that was the thing. I felt pressure, like I needed to rid myself of that memory. So I had sex way before I was ready. Not way before I was ready, but definitely before I was ready. Because I just wanted to erase that. It was like a reaction, like a clap back to what happened to me. And it was also because I felt like this pressure. I felt the pressure to be like normal college kids, like, sex and, you do that in college, right? Or people who I knew that like already had sex prior to getting to college or whatever. But if I could go back, I definitely would have had sex with the person I did. And I probably would have waited a little bit longer. Um, but yeah, like peer pressure is real, y'all. Like, I mean, like on how people act on Twitter, like who y'all bash, who y'all love, group think, like all of that. Like peer pressure is real as fuck. Um, so I'm a mixed breed when it comes to my beliefs. I'm both spiritual and religious, and I use the term religious loosely because I don't see God and loving Him and confiding in Him and having faith in Him as an institution, but I see it and view it and feel it and live it as more of a relationship. Um, and that's just a reminder that relationships, that's a broad term, and it doesn't just apply to romantic interest. It isn't inherently romantic. Relationship applies to friendships. It applies to connections with family and others. And so I apply that term to what I have with God. I don't believe in waiting until marriage. I'll say that. But, because that's really, like, that's rooted in patriarchy developed by white men. Don't believe in it. But, like, I just don't believe in waiting until marriage. But I do believe in waiting until you find someone that you have that connection with, that you can exchange that soulful energy with and create that soul tie. Like, that's just kind of the wave I'm on. And I might, rock the boat here, shake the table. And I believe in the Bible and content. But at the same time, the content that we have today, I feel like is altered. And it's not directly from God. Like, this, it's known that this version of the Bible, and I guess this form of Christianity that we mostly practice, was forced on us during the seasoning and indoctrination period of slavery. And so for me, I take from it what I believe. Like, for me, the basis of God is love, respect, and purity. And I mean purity in terms of not a virginal way, but in purity in terms of how you move and your intentions. Everything must come from a good place. And so that is what I look at when I read the Bible that we have. I keep those ideas and principles in mind, and then I say, like, hey, like, this is what I feel like is truly from God and not altered. Because you have to think about it. I mean, this is passed down from centuries, and the way our language changes, so and cultures change and stuff like that. It's just so much shift as a civilization. So how can it be the same? How can it be original? And of course, again, it was forced on us by slave masters, part of seasoning and indoctrination. But anyway, so just tying this into sex, like, for me, it's against my beliefs and how I feel for me to be intimate with someone that I have no real connection with. And two, and again, to those of you who can, shout out to you, because I wish I could. I need some, y'all. But I can't. It just doesn't connect with me. And this is really personal. And I don't tell many people this, but I'm also a weirdo when it comes to masturbating. Like, I find it shameful. I mean, I do it, but I don't do it often at all. Like, at all. Like, for that, I do, for whatever reason, like, find that a sin, and I just find that so shameful. But at the same time, I don't believe it's wrong. So that makes no sense, right? If I find it shameful and I find it a sin, like, I should think it's wrong. But at the same time, I don't think it's wrong. I would never, like, shake my finger or wag my finger at anybody. And I'm like, oh, girl, I need to get like you. When my friend told me about how she be pleasing herself all the time. I wonder if I should send her a link to this so she can hear me talk about her. But yeah, and I also feel like it can be helpful spiritually because one of your chakras is rooted in your sexual being, and so it can be helpful. And again, I told you, see, like, here I am showing my mixed breedness. But yeah, so I mean, that's just kind of how I feel, and I know it's some weird shit. But shit, like, that's me as a person. But yeah, so I thought I had more than I wanted to say about that, but I'm just over here, like, drawing blank. So that's about it. But just moving on from that, I mean, I kind of talked about it earlier, like, just things I want people to think about on a personal level. Like, are the people around you, are they bringing you down? Are they keeping you stagnant? Are they helping you elevate? Like, just soak on that, you know what I'm saying? And then also, like, if you want to manifest a better version of you, like, not only do you have to put in work, but like that work includes like taking stock of your environment. If the people who are around you aren't remotely close to the woman or man that you want to become or be around, then they can't stay in your life. Like, they can't be a part of the journey, and no bad blood, no beef. They just can't, you know what I'm saying? And then I just had this whole thing where I was just sitting down and I was just thinking, like, who is this woman? Like, who is my ideal woman that I want to be? And I just came up with names. I was like, I wanted to be a woman who not only knows herself, but stays true to herself. A woman who loves herself wholly, who's confident. A woman deeply rooted in her spirituality and relationship with God. I want to travel more and immerse myself in the beauty of nature. I want to cultivate long-lasting friendships. And I don't mean someone I can just kiki with and go out with. I'm talking about people who, you know, I can go to for guidance, spiritual, religious, like people I can just go to for any type of advice and venting. I mean, people who I would trust in my life and my kids' life. You know what I'm saying? Future kids. I don't have any kids, not pregnant. And, you know, and then just back to me as a person, I aim for no one to have control over my spirit. I want to be unshaken. And I think that's a huge one for me because I've let too many people control my spirit and me. I want inner peace, and I want my spirit and my soul to be authentic and pure. And a huge thing is I don't want to associate with leeches. I don't want anyone who selfishly just takes and takes and takes and never gives. No more pouring into bottomless bowls. And that's my thing. And in my last episode, someone brought up something that I said, and it was just really me just talking. But I guess I could say at the end of this episode as a reminder. So, say no to the trash in front of you. And I mean that in the sense that if you have this entanglement with someone who's harmful for you, say no. Say no to that trash in front of you. Say no to harmful people, harmful jobs. Like, just say no to the trash in front of you. And I'll leave you with that. So thank you guys so much for listening to episode 11. And again, just follow me on my podcast page, the_balance_pod. Subscribe to this on the iTunes podcast app. Listen to it on Google Play. Tell your friends, retweet, whatever. Love it. Love y'all. Bye.